Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a conversation about conservation and what that means for you as a fly fisherman. Now, what is conservation? Conservation essentially is the effort to protect, preserve, and restore the natural environment and the wildlife within it. Alright, now that we know what conservation is, let's talk about some of the conservation groups out there involved in fly fishing. First, we'll start with the River Keepers. The River Keepers essentially is a grassroots organization that started back in the 1960s in response to a lot of the pollution ongoing in the rivers. It eventually fell under what is now known as the Water Keepers Alliance, which was founded by Robert Kennedy in 1999. The organization itself has grown significantly over the last probably 5 years, and I think has tripled in size from the last time I checked. The River Keepers has about 180 smaller keepers that are spread across the United States, but more so on the eastern half. These guys advocate for clean water and are also known as whistleblowers when it comes to pollution within the river systems and estuaries. A recent example of their work is actually from the Altamahaw River Keeper in Georgia. These guys noticed that a wreck known as the Golden Ray wreck in 2019 was leaking oil, gas, heavy bunker fuel, and antifreeze into the Bay of St. Simons. Now, while the environmental impact of the Golden Ray wreck in 2019 is still pretty unclear, the Altamahaw River Keepers advocated and made the public aware of what was going on in the St. Simons Bay. Another notable fight within the Altamahaw River system is the fight against coal power plants. The coal plants are actually dumping ash and other waste products into unlined retention ponds. And what this means is that the waste products and the ash eventually filter down through the soil into the groundwater and then leak out into the river systems, which not only pollutes the rivers that the fish inhabit, but also pollutes the water that we drink, which is not beneficial for anybody. Another group in the fight for water equality is the Captains for Clean Water out of Florida. Now, these guys were established in 2016 in response to the mismanagement of the Everglades watershed, and specifically Lake Okeechobee. Basically, farming, agriculture, and the development of the Tamiami Trail in Florida have had a significant negative impact on the Everglades, specifically resulting in low water quality and also low volumes of water reaching the Everglades. The lack of water and the low quality of water and the pollutants within it significantly contribute to the development of toxic algae in the coastline. This is also known as red tide, which kills a lot of local fish and also makes a lot of the shellfish in the bays inedible for a certain period of time. The lack of quality of water and quantity of water contribute to the loss of habitat within the Everglades system. Captains for Clean Water has been a huge proponent of CERP, which is the Comprehensive Everglades Restoration Program. And they also helped kill the bill 2508, which would have significantly reduced the amount of funding going towards the CERP program. They're also having a really interesting fundraiser. They're raffling off a Yeti Edition Hell's Bay skiff until the 25th of November. So if you want a chance at winning a Hell's Bay skiff and also contributing to charity, you can go to their website and purchase some of their tickets. I bought 2 just the other day because, couldn't hurt to own a skiff. All right, the next organization we're going to talk about here today is the Stripers Forever Foundation, founded in 2004 in response to the mismanagement of the striped bass fisheries in the Atlantic Northeast. Now, these fish have been widely acclaimed as the perfect fly rod fish. They're aggressive, they have really long, hard runs on a fly rod, and you can also sight fish for them when they're schooled up in big pods. Unfortunately, the striped bass was fished to near extinction in 1985, and after a short 5-year ban was placed on the commercial fishing, it was lifted. But only a few years after that, the population began to decline very rapidly. In 2019, the fishery was declared overfished once again. Stripers Forever is seeking to establish the striped bass as a game fish, which would essentially end the commercial fishery, also reduce the overharvesting of its forage food, and restore the fishery to as close as possible to its pre-crash numbers. The Stripers Forever Foundation is active in over 15 states, and if you go to their homepage, it lists the 15 states, as well as the legislators for each state and the regulations for striped bass fishing. The next organization is Trout Unlimited, which has had undoubtedly the most impact out of all of these organizations so far. Their goal is to protect, reconnect, restore, and sustain cold water resources throughout the United States. They are currently involved in over 52 projects from dam removals to even small stream restorations. They are currently working with other conservation groups to re-implement the Clean Water Act and preserve the Navigable Waters Protection Rule and implement the Waters of America, which seeks to protect streams and fisheries across the United States. While I'm usually not very interested in contributing to large charities such as this one, Trout Unlimited is essential to the fight for preserving fisheries across the United States because they have such a large presence. All right, lastly, we have the Public Lands and Waters Association based in Bozeman, Montana. Now, these guys are fighting for your rights and protecting public lands, roads, trails, and access to rivers and streams. If you didn't already know, Montana is comprised of about 30 million acres of public lands, or around 30% of the state. Every year here, new bills and policies are attempted to be passed to limit or restrict public access to these lands. Private landowners are also posting no trespassing signs, blocking some people from accessing water below the high water mark, which in the state of Montana is legal. The team fighting for these rights is very diverse, with degrees ranging from nursing and anthropology to forestry and water quality. They are currently involved in about 19 projects, 9 of which are under review and 10 are being actively pursued by the team. They have also successfully resolved about 35 issues throughout the state. One thing that I really like about PLWA is that they are not afraid to call out local businesses and politicians for supporting bills and policies that limit public access. I foresee this team as having a significant impact in the state of Montana as well as surrounding states when it comes to public access and stream access. So how do you, as a fly fisherman, get involved in conservation efforts? Well, for one, you don't even have to join a big organization to do it. You can just simply pick up trash when you're out on the river, participate in volunteer groups and river cleanups, or just simply knock over rock cairns, which are incredibly detrimental in the eastern half of the United States. You can also become a whistleblower and alert local conservation groups, such as the River Keepers, to problems that you've encountered on the river and pollution. However, if you want to take it to the next level, all of the organizations that I've listed here are registered charitable organizations, which means you can donate to them and also get a tax write-off if that's what you're worried about. Or if you want, you can join the organization through memberships, such as the Captains for Clean Water, Trout Unlimited, and the Stripers Forever Foundation. Unfortunately, guys, the simple fact of the matter is we don't have the luxury to refrain from not acting and being involved in conservation groups anymore. Being involved means that we can protect these fisheries and public lands for years to come, not only in the immediate time period, but also for future generations. Every day, access is lost in places like North Carolina and Montana. Alright guys, well, make sure you share this video with your friends or anyone else who's interested in conservation and get involved. I hope you enjoyed the video and we'll see you in the next one. Till then.